Some books stuck with me, and some of them I totally forgot. But all of them will be in my September wrap up. My name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. So, some of the books were really good, some were okay, and some of them I just didn't like at all. We're going to get into it. I read 18 books in the month of September. Book number one is called Second Sunday. It is by Michelle Andrea Bowen. This book was so good. It was so funny. My husband and I read it in about 2 weeks. Normally, it takes us about 3 weeks. We read 2 chapters per night. This book, we picked up extra chapters on different days because we enjoyed it so much. It was so funny. We did not want to stop reading, so it took us less time. So, this one is about a church, Gethsemane Baptist Church, and they are having their 100-year celebration. Unfortunately, their pastor dies right before the celebration. And there is a family who donated this land to the church for 100 years, and that 100 years is coming up. The family, and there's this one guy named Cleavon who wants to kind of run the church. He wants to, do whatever he wants to do, which is likely not very godly. And so he's picked some people that he wants to be the pastor, and like the church board and some other people, they've picked some people. So they have these interviews, and they let the people, do their sermon on, like, each Sunday. It's a different pastor. It is hilarious. And there is a lot going on in this book, so that is like the main story. But then behind that, you have these two ladies, Louise and Moselle. Louise and Moselle are best friends. They gossip a lot. They know everybody's business. And Moselle is married to this old guy named Oscar. Oscar is so mean and so nasty, and he mistreats this lady so badly. He decides he's going to join this club called the Mellow Fellow Cougar Club or something. I don't know. It reminds me of a place we call the VFW when I lived in California. It's just this place where people go, where like older people go to hang out, party, drink, and, do whatever old people do. I'm not old, so I don't know. And so he joins this club, and it's exclusive. So you can only come to the club if you make a certain amount of money, if you somebody bring you there, just all these stipulations. You can come to the club, right? So her husband Oscar goes to the club, meets this other woman, starts cheating on his wife. So now her friend Louise tells her the only way, convinces her that the only way she can get some act right out of Oscar is if she go to the club and get inside the club, because then she's going to meet up with him and his mistress inside the club, right? So they go through this little back and forth or whatever, trying to get into the club. She go get her some new clothes. She done made herself up. She flirting with this man. It is just so funny. I don't even want to tell the book, but it is so good. Then you've got another lady whose name is Sheba. Sheba has 4 children by 4 different men, and she's super lonely, and she's been praying really, really hard for a husband. And so her and one of the men from the church have a connection, but little things are kind of hindering that. And so that's a story. You've got this other lady who is there's a man who owns the Mellow Fellow Cougar Club. His name is Old Daddy. Old Daddy is always with this. This lady is always with Old Daddy. Her name is Warlene. And Warlene has a connection to this other church that is on the other side of town. It is a trip because it's like so many characters. They are all related. It's like the grandmother, the great grandkids. You got Melvin Sr., Melvin Jr., Old Daddy, Mr. Lewis Loomis. Oh my God, these characters are hilarious. I love this book. I am looking forward to reading I think is it called Church? Yeah, Church Folk. Now that is another book by Michelle Andrea Bowen. And this was just a book my husband grabbed off the shelf and said, "Hey, let's read this." And it turns out it is so good. So I cannot wait to read Church Folk. And let's see, book number two. It is called "Pour Me Up Something Bigger Than Myself," and it is by Tarika Liggins. And this was a really good book, but it was very short. It's about 90 something pages. It is about this woman who has these, she either has three or four daughters. I'm not sure. She has three or four daughters, and she said, "Look, I will provide for you a place to live, but that is it. Everything else you need to get it how you live." And these are kids. Like, she has a daughter who had a baby at 12. And then she's got these other two daughters, Wednesday and Gently. Gently has a best friend named Clover. And so they all hang out. And so the book is really just about these girls running amok, just out and about, hanging out with guys, just doing whatever, drinking, whatever. And at the end, there is a tragedy. And then it goes in, there is a book two, but it doesn't really, it isn't called book two. It's just called Gently. That's the name of the book. And that is the one of the daughters of the lady from the book Pour Me Up Something Bigger Than Myself. So when you get to book two, it starts out Gently has a baby. She did not have a baby in the first book, and she lives in a shelter. She has this best friend named Atlantis. Now, her and Atlantis met in the shelter. They help each other out. One day they go to the grocery store. They hear these two ladies talking about making pies or whatever, desserts for the upcoming holiday. I can't remember if it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, but some upcoming holiday. Atlantis volunteers Gently to cook their desserts and says that she's this wonderful cook and she can do it because they have this huge family that they want to bake all these desserts for. It is really funny. And so because they live in a shelter, Gently has to go over to the lady's house and cook the desserts there at her house. And when she gets there, Gently winds up meeting some people that she knew from back in her day. And it doesn't start off great for Gently, but it has a beautiful ending. And I enjoyed both of these books. They were really good. And that was my first time reading Terica Liggins. And then I read Fever by Kimberly Brown. Now, Fever is a part of the Ambrose Medical. I think that's what it's called. It's a hospital. It is a hospital series. I liken it to Grey's Anatomy. I love, love, love Grey's Anatomy. And so when I saw this, I was like, "Oh yes, I have to read this." So I wound up reading Fever first. Oh my God, I would give Fever 5 stars. I kid you not, Fever was so good to me. There are not a lot of books that will make me feel like I want to cry. This book was tugging at my heart. It's one of those books that will tear you apart and put you back together again. This was great. So, it is about when it first starts off. It starts off with this girl named Winter, who is, I believe, she's 15 years old. Her mother died in childbirth, giving birth to her. She lives with her father, who, of course, is a single father. And at about 15 years old, it gets to be too much. His grief has overwhelmed him to the point that it shows up in his life as hoarding. And so it becomes unsafe for Winter to live there. She has to go live with her cousin and her aunt. So then it jumps forward to the future where her 15 years later, her father has passed away, and now she has to come back because after, her aunt and her cousin lives in a different city. I don't think it's very far away, but it's still a different city. And so she has to come back to her father's house to take care of her father's business, to identify her father's body, to clean up the house, different things like that. And so she gets back, and when she goes to identify her father's body, she meets the pathologist, whose name is Jackson. Now, Jackson is a single father. Jackson was married to the mother of his daughter, Jabari. His ex-wife at this point was just a gold digger, somebody who wanted to get with him because he was a doctor, because she wanted to live this fabulous life, and having a baby and marrying him was a way for her to do that. Once he figured it out, they got a divorce. So he's a single dad, and him and winter meet, and it is so beautiful. I'm telling you, it hurt, but it felt so good. It was so gratifying in the end. I enjoyed this. It's a 5 star. It is the best book I read in the month of September. I cannot wait to read. I think Crash. I know I want to read Crash, but I think it's by Aisha Bree, and I've never read anything by Aisha Bree, so that's going to be another new author for me. There's also one by C. Monet. There's Crash, Rounds, Fever, and Crash, Rounds, Fever. There's another one. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm looking forward to reading the other three. Excuse me. And then there is Hellcat Barbie, and this one is Aubrey. It is by Natisha Rayner. Now, I hate to say this, but I did not enjoy this book. I hate to say it because it's Natisha Rayner, right? But I really did not enjoy this book. So if you've read Lucy, what is that? I call it Lucky, but somebody was kind enough to tell me that it is not pronounced Lucky, but I can't remember how they pronounced it. Lucy? I don't know, whatever it is. So if you've read Lucy, they have the Hellcat Barbies in Lucy. That was the first place I seen them in her writing. So when I saw this Hellcat Barbies book, I thought, oh yes, part two to Lucky Lucy, whatever his name is. Part two, right? So I'm reading, and I get a little bit disappointed because this book has nothing to do with the other book. And so at that point, I just really didn't care anymore. I just didn't care. So I can't really tell you if the book was good or not. I did read it, but I don't know what it was about. I just checked out. Let me say that. I checked out once I realized that this book had nothing to do with the other book. So yeah. And this is also a series. There are a couple of other Hellcat Barbie stories written by other authors. But I don't know if I'm gonna read that series. Just don't know. Um, and then I read this book called Dominion. Dominion is, I believe, a historical Christian fiction by Addie E. Kitchens. Uh, Pritchens. I think it's Pritchens. I don't know. Anyways, so this is a book about a family. The pastor, his wife, and I believe they either have 3 or 4 sons. The pastor owns a good portion of the city called Dominion, and they are a prominent family in this city called Dominion. I did not like this book. I was not able to connect to the book. I don't know why. The pastor was kind of he was doing some like uh, stuff pastors don't do. His wife was sneaky, and his son, well, definitely his youngest son was a creep. His name, I believe, is Wonder Boy, and I don't know. The book was just weird. I didn't. I couldn't connect to it. I did not like it. I noticed that some other people really enjoyed the book, and cool for them, but I didn't like it. I could not connect to it. I didn't get it. I was just like, I don't get it. Like, there was nothing really spectacular that pulled me in. Not even that it had to be spectacular, but it was nothing about it that pulled me in. Like I said, the sun was a creep and it made my skin crawl. Some of the stuff that happened, I was just kind of like, ew, So yeah, that was Dominion. And then Salt Don't Go in Tea, which I've talked about in another video. I think I'm going to put that video at the end of this video, because there's going to be quite a few books that I'm not going to like go into detail here because I've already went to detail about them on a different video. So Salt Don't Go in Tea is about there's three girls: Koi, Amari, and Yara, and two guys: Saint and Psalm. Yara and Saint are married. Um, Saint is cheating on Yara. Amari was friends with Koi, and then she became friends with Yara. Yara got jealous and started doing little petty stuff. And the book is really good. It's really messy. It's got a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of drama. They are social media influencers, and it's really good. It is so good. I read book one and book two. And one of the things that I will not do, if book one is good or okay, I may or may not go to book two. But if I go to book two, that means book one was really good. Because I'm not going to book two if book one is just okay. So I did read both of them. They are very good. And it just kind of picks up where book one left off. And the next book I read is called Ride Like Hell. It is by S.A. Cosby. It's a short, I think it's about 50, 60 pages. It's about a con artist. So this guy, he works at a stable. His uh, employer told him, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have to let you go. So he's mad at the employer. And so now he wants to get him back or get some money out of him. He knows these two people who are con artists. So they set up this con in order to breed um, this horse that his employer has. Excuse me, only they're not really going to be breeding him. They're swindling him out of money. So they're conning him, right? And so they do the whole con, everything goes well, but there are some people who are chasing the guy and the girl, Rachel and what's his name? Johnson, Johnny, I don't know, whatever the man name is. The two that came out to do the con, there's some people chasing them from Cincinnati, and they show up there. So it's a whole thing. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. I don't think S.A. Cosby could do no wrong. Everything I've read has been all hits across the board, including this one, unless he starts to write, I don't know, romance, maybe I wouldn't be so thrilled. Hey, that might not be a bad idea. But anyway, I enjoyed this book very much. And like I said, it's very short. The next book is Another Sad Love Song by Kimberly Brown. This one starts out as a forbidden love. You got two friends, and um, Callie or Calliope and her best friend, they are best friends. She is telling him all about her dude, so and so and so and so. Next thing you know, this heifer winds up pregnant. And she knows that she's pregnant, but she doesn't find out that that's her dude's baby until she sees the baby in the hospital. And oh my God, it just breaks her down so bad. It is such a sad story. Not like sad like that, because I mean, it's sad because you shouldn't do your friend like that, but it's not like pull on your heartstrings sad, but it is sad. And I don't know. There's another story happening. I really can't remember. When you read like 18 books, it's kind of like only the good ones are going to be in my memory. The ones who don't rise to the occasion, might remember bits and pieces of it, but I'm not going to remember the whole story. But I do remember bits and pieces of this one. I did think it was good. And then next was Dash by Keith. And I thought this one was kind of cute. It's To me, it came across like what do you call that when they deliver food? DoorDash or Instacart or whatever. This was kind of like Instacart, but only he was Instacarting himself, and so that was kind of cute. I read Another Man's Baby. This one, oh yes, this one was about a girl who was in a relationship with this guy, and his she didn't know he was married. She found out he was married by his wife coming into her job, and she took off, met another guy, found out she was pregnant, and Plus Size Player. I had never read any of Danielle Allen before, which was really good. This was about a plus size influencer who was dating multiple men at the same time. Um, we did enjoy that. This is something that my husband and I read together. Is this? Hmm. Did I read this? I think I read this in the month of September. Anyway, I'm telling you about it. I think I read it in the month of September, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and then we have Overdue Feelings by A Blossom. This was a, what do you call it? I guess, I don't know if it's called poly or why choose. I don't know, but it was three people in this book. And then we have Maid of Honor, which is another, my first read by Shantae Moore, and Overdue Feelings by A Blossom. That was my first A Blossom book. Isn't She Lucky by Tina Martin. This was another new author for me. This was about two kids who grew up together as friends, and they fell in love as kids, and then they got separated and they came back together later on as adults. And excuse me, Creed was about, what was Creed about? Oh, Creed was the guy who was his dad was a mob boss or something. Him and his brother and his family didn't know that his father was no good, and he didn't want to tell his family because he didn't want to break their hearts or whatever, and the father had disappeared or whatever, but I'm not going to say anymore because I only remember certain parts of it, and I think that part is kind of like the middle of the book where the dad is whatever. Anyway, and then My G by Natavia, which was good. This was about a guy, a girl named Kiosha. She lived with her family, and she had this best friend. She was a plus size girl. Her friend invited her out on a double date and to meet this guy, and she had met the guy earlier in the day, but what she doesn't know is that this guy is a childhood bully of hers, and he is, after this date, he wants her to marry him, but it's only so that he get his inheritance, but it's not really only so he get his inheritance. That's what he tells her in order to get her to marry him. He really is into her. And then the Brasi Family, which is dark romance. This was my first dark romance, and I can't do dark romance. It's too much for me. I like a little, a little unhinged, a little, some, but this is too much. It's a little over the top for me. I just want you to be a little bit crazy. This book was a lot of bit crazy, and I can't get with it. So that was my 18 books for the month of September. And as I said before, excuse me, the best book out of all of these was Fever. So actually, my favorite three books was Fever, um, Second Sunday, and it's between Salt Don't Go in Tea and I want to say My G. Maybe it's Salt Don't Go in Tea. So My G would be fourth. But the three would be Fever, Second Sunday, and Salt Don't Go in Tea. Those were the best books I read in the month of September. They're not the only good ones, but they were the best. So let me know, what was the best book you read in the month of September? And have you read any of these books? Will you be reading any of these books? And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to do all of the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until next time, see you soon.